Alright, shalom. It's GMSMythdestroyers. And I'm Zahab. To my right is
Wanyumya.
Or
Alright, and we're here to go over a certain topic, and it's basically going over the point that the Most High made the brothers in His truth, Lord willing, the elect. He made them likened to seeds being planted in a cultivated field. And there are different examples of that in the scriptures, and that's what we're going to go over. That's what we're going to revive our lesson around, is the fact that we're spiritual seeds in this truth. And we're going to go over the different levels of that. So first, I'll have to get Sirach 10 and 19.
Sirach chapter 10, verse 19. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed.
Now, how do you fear the Most High? Well, that's the beginning of wisdom. So you first come into this truth. It starts from fear, but that's how you first plant it in the truth, through fear. And then it says a sure seed. So basically, to maintain fear of the Most High is to establish you in the truth. But ultimately, what did it say?
They that fear the Lord are a sure seed.
A sure seed. Go ahead.
And they that love Him, an honorable plant.
An honorable plant. All right, is that it on that?
It's a little more.
All right.
They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed.
Yep.
They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed.
Yep. And then you got guys like that came into the truth like that. They weren't a sure seed. Those are what do you call it? Despisable seed.
Yeah.
And but it was manifest. But we're gonna cover that. I just want to get to the point. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 22. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect.
Yep, my grape and my plant. And what is that plant? The elect. With great labor have He made it perfect. How did He made us perfect? Through suffering, pursuing the Hebrews. I believe it's the first chapter. I'm quoting off the back. But we made perfect through suffering, man. That's why I said we should be tried and go through the fire, man. Alright. From there, get Psalms, the first chapter, starting at the first verse. But that's a beautiful precept, man.
Psalms chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly,
Yep.
nor standeth in the way of sinners,
Yep.
nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Yep.
But his delight is in the law of the Lord.
Yep. That's what our delight is, man. Not BET, not basketball. Our delight is the word. Go ahead.
And in his law doth he meditate day and night.
Yep.
And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water,
Yep.
that bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
Oh, there you go. You're a tree. You come into this truth, and then you bring forth fruit once you evolve. Go ahead.
His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
Yep. Now, get 1 Corinthians 3 and 7. As a matter of fact, start at the 6th verse.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. I have planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase.
Yep. So what did he mean when he said, I have planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High giveth the increase? Jump down to the 9th verse, can you?
Verse 9. For we are laborers together with the Most High. Ye are the Most High's husbandry. Ye are the Most High's building.
You are the Most High's husbandry. What is husbandry? It's a cultivated field. So let's get an example when Paul actually planted a church in this truth. Because what was Paul's mission? He was an apostle of the Israelite foreigners. His job was to establish churches, different churches in Asia Minor, basically mainly in Asia Minor, Greece, Rome. But then somebody else had another job. Somebody else had to water what he planted. So let's get an example of that in Acts 18, starting at the first verse.
Acts chapter 18, verse 1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth.
Yep, the city of Corinth. That's what we just got to read in the book of Corinth. Because also after he planted the church, he sent epistles out. Go ahead.
And found a certain Jew named Aquila,
Yep.
born in Pontus, lately come from Italy,
Yep.
with his wife Priscilla,
Yep.
because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome.
See, it was Israelites in Rome. Go ahead.
And came unto them. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought. For by their occupation they were tent makers.
Yep, they were tent makers. Go out, read all the way down to 11th verse.
And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath.
Yep. That means he taught in the synagogues. Go ahead.
Lost my spot. Yeah, in verse, I started verse 3. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought. For by their occupation they were tent makers. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
Mm-hmm. Those are Israelite Greeks. Go ahead.
And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in the spirit, and it testified to the Jews that Yahushua was Christ.
Yep.
And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, he shook his raiment and said unto them, Your blood be upon your own heads. I am clean. From henceforth I will go unto the Gentiles.
Yep. Because basically said, I did my job. Now it's on you. The blood is on your head, like how the Most High instructed Ezekiel. Go ahead.
And he departed thence and entered into a certain man's house named Justus, one that worshipped the Most High, whose house joined hard to the synagogue.
Yep.
And Crispus, the chief ruler of the synagogue, believed on the Lord with all his house, and many of the Corinthians hearing believed.
So you're reading about Paul establishing the church of Corinth as we speak. Go ahead.
And were baptized. Then spake the Lord to Paul in the night by a vision, Be not afraid, but speak and hold not thy peace.
Yep.
For I am with thee, and no man shall set on thee to hurt thee, for I have much people in this city.
Yep.
And he continued there a year and 6 months, teaching the word of the Most High among them.
So there's an example. Now can you go back to 1 Corinthians 3 and 6 now that we gave an example?
1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 6. I have planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase.
Yep. Now go back to because we went to the part where it said I have planted. Then we read where it says you are the Most High's husbandry. So skip to Acts 18 and the 24th verse. Because what was this big thing about Apollos? Go ahead.
Acts chapter 18 verse 24. And a certain Jew named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus.
He was one of those brothers you fall in love with when he spoke. He was real charismatic. He knew all the different precepts. Go ahead.
This man was instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in the Spirit, he spake and taught diligently the things of the Lord, knowing only the baptism of John.
Yep, go ahead.
And he began to speak boldly in the synagogue, whom when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took him unto them, and expounded unto him the way of the Most High more perfectly.
Go ahead.
And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him, who when he was come, helped them much which had believed through grace. For he mightily convinced the Jews, and that publicly showing by the scriptures that Yahushua was Christ.
Yeah, now go to Acts 19 and 1.
Acts chapter 19 verse 1.
And it came to pass that while Apollos was at Corinth, Paul, having passed through the upper coast, came to Ephesus, and finding certain disciples.
Now that's the point. Apollos, he knew about the gospel of John, but Aquila and Priscilla, they furthered the gospel to Apollos. But he had a whole different spirit on him. Paul was a straightforward prophet, but Apollos was an eloquent prophet. But that was an example of what Paul was telling the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians 3. So can you get 1 Corinthians, the first chapter, and go to the 12th verse?
And everybody hates a straightforward guy.
Yeah, they hate that, man. Because you're going to see that
He holds no punches.
he's a fire and brimstone prophet. And you're going to see that the disciples that were so young, they showed favoritism. But it was all the same gospel. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 11. For it hath been declared unto me of you, my brethren, by them which are of the house of Chloe, that there are contentions among you.
There are contentions, divisions. Go ahead.
Now this I say, that every one of you said, I am of Paul, and I of Apollos, and I of Cephas, and I of Christ.
Cephas was another head of the Corinthian church. Now that was the point. That was the point we want to bring out. It was 2 points. Paul was telling the Corinthians, look, it's contentions between you and the church of Corinth. Some of you are saying, look, I like Paul. I learned from Paul. Others were saying, you know what? Apollos was my teacher, man. But Paul was telling them in a nutshell, look, me and Apollos had 2 different offices in the truth. My job was just to establish you in the truth. Apollos came to further the gospel. That's why I said in 1 Corinthians 3, I have planted and Apollos watered it. Because you want to know some of the things Apollos said had not you been grounded by Paul. And the reason why we bringing it out, because you got to say GMS. We was all rooted and planted through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai by GMS. But for example, you might have a brother that's an elegant speaker like the Texas Count. And you might start showing favoritism. You know, you're young in the truth. But guess what? You wouldn't understand what their brother in Texas was saying had you not been grounded by the elders in GMS. So this was the same thing that was going on in the book of Corinthians, man. It happened in the book of Acts, but he was writing about in the book of Corinthians. Go ahead.
Verse 13, is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you?
Yep.
Or were you baptized in the name of Paul?
Right. He's saying, why are you showing favoritism to me? Was I crucified? Was I crucified for you? Was Hamashiach divided? Go ahead.
I thank the Most High that I baptized none of you, but
Yep.
Crispus and Gaius,
Yep.
lest any should say that I have had baptized in mine own name.
Yep. So that's why, and that was what he said in 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. Lest I be exalted above measure, man.
And Paul was getting away from that. I guess you could say that sitting on a high pedestal that these preachers want to be on today.
Yep.
Like T.D. Jakes, he wants to be worshipped by his congregation.
Yep.
Creek Low Dog, he wants to be worshipped by his congregation. But Paul belittled himself like, I don't need all that.
Yep. And it said that about his presence. He said his presence was contemptible, man. Now, what guy in the world gonna have a contemptible presence now? They ever had that $300 silk shiny suit? You can see a reflection in this silver suit, man.
Don't step off his private jet waving at you.
Yep, that's why I said in Isaiah 65, something to the effect of, come not near to us, for I am holier than thou. A real man of the Most High is going to be straightforward, rugged, tell you how it is. Alright? You got something up? Alright, so that was the point in that. Now I would like to get, that was the conclusion. Paul's job was only to plant, and another man came to basically water you, because you are likened to a seed, and the seed grows into a plant, and that plant is well nurtured. It's going to produce seed. It's going to produce fruit, so to speak. All right, Matthew 13:3, unless a word got a precept.
Matthew Chuck, you got something?
I'll just quote it.
Okay,
Cause give me 1 second.
no problem.
Alright, well, I can't seem to find it right now, but the scriptures tell you, like the brother said, that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, water and you know, give it the increase. So, and when you read in the book of Isaiah, it tells us that we're the Most High's vineyard.
Yeah, it does say that.
So,
yeah. Then he likened us into a noble vine.
So when you read Matthew 20, the parable of the laborers, it tells you that he hired laborers to work in the vineyard. So what does that mean? Those laborers are the prophets and the people coming out doing the work. And where are they working? In the vineyard, in Israel, to wake up the Israelites.
That's right. I put in that groundwork.
So yeah, the Most High gives the increase.
Matthew 13:3.
Matthew chapter 13, verse 3. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up.
Yep.
Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth.
Yep.
And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away.
Right.
And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold.
Now, skip to the verse 19. This is the breakdown of that parable.
Verse 19, when anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside.
Now you're gonna see examples of that when you out there teaching. Paul experienced it, man. Everybody didn't follow Paul, the Apostle Paul, when he was out there establishing them churches. Some stood out there for a little while. Then his baby mama or his wife or his best friend, come on, man, we gotta go, bro. What's the man talking about, man? We gotta go, bro. You know, that's what you experience when you out there teaching. Go ahead.
But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended.
Yeah, you got a guy, he came into the truth. He might have been sharp in the truth, but he wasn't rooted. He wasn't grounded in the faith. So what happened is he might have been a good speaker or whatever his gift might have been. But when the affliction came, by and by he started finding reasons not to come out there to teach. By and by, he saw his beard getting thin, 5 o'clock shadow, baby face. By and by, he basically stopped teaching, man, because he got offended. Go ahead.
He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful.
Yeah, that record label contract finally came through while you was in the truth. They set you down in that hotel room and open up that suitcase like the others was talking about. Had the women kissing you on the neck and massaging your shoulders, man. Or you thought you got hard, so you thought about going to college, because everybody said you was intelligent. All right, go ahead.
But he that received seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some an hundredfold, some 60, some 30.
Yep. And that's the purpose of being in this truth, man. When you plant it and then you water it, then you growing in this truth, then guess what? You produce fruit. Then you plant brothers in the truth. It's called proliferating. It means to multiply seed, to multiply offspring. Now could you get Sirach 40 and 16? And could you get Colossians 2 and 7? I'm gonna close it out with that.
You said 40, 16?
Yeah.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 40, verse 16. The weed growing upon every water bank of a river shall be pulled up before all grass.
Yeah, if you're in this truth, man, you're going to be pulled up before all grass. That's what we mean when we say he was weeded out the faith or weeded out the truth. Go ahead.
Bountifulness is as a most fruitful garden, and mercifulness endureth forever.
Yep.
To labor and to be content with that a man hath is a sweet life, but he that findeth a treasure is above them both.
All right, that's it on that. Here's the conclusion of the topic. Go ahead.
4 and 16.
Colossians 2 and 7.
Colossians chapter 2 verse 7. Rooted and built up in him, established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving.
Could you start at the 6th verse?
Verse 6. As ye have therefore received Yahushua the Lord, so walk ye in him, rooted and built up in him, established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving.
There you go again. Rooted and built up in him. All right? And it started out with you hearing the word and you grounding yourself in the faith. Then you built up in him. You grow it in the truth, because you never stand at one level. Show me a plant that's the same size, man, from the time it came out the ground. But
and before you conclude this, brother, I have to add a very, very important thing as far as rooting go. I don't know if you said it before, but in order to be properly rooted upon something, it has to be rooted on a good foundation.
yeah.
If you don't have a foundation, it's gonna wither away. You build a house or plant a house on on sand. Well, guess what? When a sandstorm come or when the sand fall a little bit, your house gonna fall.
When that tribulation comes.
You plant your house on mud or uneven land, your house gonna be uneven. So you gotta have a good foundation where you're gonna be rooted. That's why these guys who you will see that's not in the truth, or you will see them teaching other doctrine and stuff, you will see they know precepts, you will see they know all that. But guess what? Eventually they start going nuts because they don't have a good foundation. And you got some guys who come up under the elders, or come up under us brothers, which are future elders, and they won't know the scriptures. They'll just try to rush into it when they really should be sitting home studying, or trying to be taught again. But you have those type of people, they never developed the foundation, therefore they withered away. And if you notice something about plants, when plants ain't in a good location, they die. They die. Even Esau tell you, plants can't grow here because it's in this little area. It don't get enough water, or it don't get enough sun. So a plant basically just living under a rock. So yeah.
And that's a good point, and that's why I said you are the Most High's husbandry. And I looked at the word husbandry, and it means a cultivated field, not just a field, but a cultivated field. So spiritually, that's what that is. A good foundation. Nurtured. Your culture. Nurtured. But any brother want to add anything else? Well, with that, we're going to say, double honors to the elders. May all honor and glory go to the name of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you brothers. They're sincerely in the truth. They are rooted in the truth. And with that, we're going to say Shalom.
Shalom.
See if I get this printer working.